Welcome to the very first episode of Tinnacity Talks, where real people share real stories about the best and brightest in mobile field service. I'm your host, Katie Duvall, better known to the industry as Katie from Kentucky. We are kicking things off today with a bang. I am joined by two wonderful folks over at Atlantic Coast Toyotalift, or ACT, a team that has been leading the way in material handling for over 50 years. ACT has grown from a single location to a regional powerhouse known for its experience-based solutions and consultative approach to logistics. Please welcome Matt, the Director of Aftermarket, and Ann, their Corporate Service Manager. Thank you so much for being my first ever guests.
Oh, thank you, Kate.
Thank you for having us.
Matt, let's start with you. Let's talk about a day in the life. How do you describe your current role and what you actually do at ACT to someone who's outside the industry?
My role as the Director of Aftermarket Operations involves everything other than our whole goods sales department. So I'm from the transportation department to the service to rental to parts and our product support team. I am balancing all of those fun roles and trying to make sure everyone's on top of stuff.
That sounds like a lot of moving parts. It really shows how vital your role is in the company. And what about you?
As corporate service manager, I'm over the material handling side of our company. I'm over 8 locations, just making sure the service departments are running smoothly and efficiently, answering a lot of questions day to day, and then helping people learn Tinnacity as well as our business system.
Okay, so would you consider yourself like a power user?
To a point, yes.
Well, we appreciate people internally, that continue to train other employees as you come along. Matt, before your team started with Tinnacity, what were some specific pain points or bottlenecks that made you realize something had to change?
We were using another version of a mobile service platform that was designed and built around our current business management system, and it was antiquated, not well updated, and extremely clumsy. We got to a point where there was more IT tickets and more questions than there were solutions. And that company was not well supporting what we needed. And that is when we decided to start looking elsewhere.
I think anyone can relate to that feeling of being stuck in the mud with a clunky platform like that. So I appreciate that insight. And what about you?
Same thing. From the technician standpoint, there was a lot of connectivity issues with our old platform. Things would just kind of get stuck and it just wasn't efficient. And they would get super frustrated because they would spend so much time trying to connect that they felt like they weren't getting as much work done as they should be.
Right. It's amazing how those small bottlenecks can end up being such a massive drain on the day, right? Was there a specific moment, Matt, as your team started using Tinnacity where you realized, okay, this thing's actually working?
One thing that we found was amazing with Tinnacity is that they got it right and they made it happen right when it needed to. No software integration into our business management system has gone in any kind of a smooth operation where we rolled Tinnacity out company-wide in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Had limited to no IT problems. And I would say that Corey was absolutely phenomenal in keeping everything moving as far as our integration went. So that the aha moment was, wow, these people can make an integration happen and do it on the fly.
For me, our Virginia branch was on paper. They were on our mobile service platform until we moved into Tinnacity. So we were super apprehensive about that team moving to the platform. They have actually been probably our most successful team at it. They took a hold of it and ran with it and have just really impressed us how quickly they were able to learn it and just run with it and be as efficient as possible.
There's nothing better than hearing about these wins. It's exactly why we do what we do. And these stories actually, motivate us to keep going and developing new features. And we want your feedback all the time as well, because we do consider this a partnership.
Definitely. I tell everyone, if you reach out through Tinnacity HQ for help, the response time is so quick. in the field, we feel super supportive that they're just so spot on at responding.
I don't think a lot of companies, especially SaaS companies that I've been a part of, have everybody involved in support so we can understand the pain points better and help the experience. Beyond the numbers, how has Tinnacity changed your team's daily workflow and vibe? Matt, are they less stressed? Are the people more confident?
It always works. You always get logged in and it's intuitive. We can put a new technician on Tinnacity and they can be trained and up and running in a few hours. Our previous product, that was days, not hours.
Wow. What about you, Ann?
It has really improved accountability across the different departments, as far as like quote requests, part requests, work order requests. You can actually see who's doing what, when, and how long it takes them to address it. So then from a management standpoint, you can actually look through that information and, address any issues that we have internally to help us help the technicians out in the field, which eventually rolls out to our customers.
I love hearing that because then at the end of the day, it's about the people behind the tools, not just the tools themselves. So well said.
Thank you.
And we touched on this briefly. Since partnering with Tinnacity, how has the level of service and support you receive from our customer experience team compared to what you were used to before or any companies that you've worked with in the past?
I would say it's a night and day difference improvement wise. The response time is very quick. So that's super helpful on our side to get problem solved quickly.
Anything else you want to add to that, Matt?
I would say it's a 10 out of 10 over and over and over. And you could not even compare the support to our previous system. It would not even be fair to put Tinnacity in the same room as that support level because it was a 0.
Wow. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone that's on the fence about working with Tinnacity? Matt?
Don't be concerned whatsoever about integration. The product is intuitive and the integration team, I have 100% faith in.
I agree with Matt. The integration. I've spoken with several dealers that have been transitioning into Tinnacity, and that's been their biggest fear is the integration. I echo what Matt says. Don't fear it.
Powerful advice. I think there's really no substitute for hearing it from someone who's actually been in the trenches like you guys. So hopefully that will resonate with people that are watching today if they have questions about integrations, which usually is the most painful subject, right?
Yes.
And which specific department do you think has felt the biggest weight lifted since Tinnacity came on board, and how has their day-to-day improved?
The technician side of the service department, they were able to request work orders, request parts, and sometimes get immediate responses. As before, they had to make a phone call or send a text message. Now they can actually just send that request through Tinnacity, and our back office gets it and can immediately respond. So I believe that has built the confidence of the technicians that they're going to get what they need as quick as possible.
Also, to the accountability point you mentioned earlier, having that documentation in Tinnacity, because you can't do that with text, right? You can't do that with phone calls. So that's really important. Matt, do you have anything to add to that?
I would agree with Ann said is that the technicians have really taken hold of the capabilities of what Tinnacity does. And it's improved communication, accountability, and just their day-to-day operation. There's lots of things that they don't have to worry about anymore. Parts responses, getting work orders. It's a single medium communication portal, whereas we used to have to use Microsoft Teams, a phone call, and the mobile service platform to get things done. They can use one platform for everything.
Matt, what was your very first job?
I sealed floors at a mental hospital with a bunch of my friends in high school. And one of those friends' father owned the development company of the building. And he hauled us out to this job with Tyvek suits and 5-gallon cans of tile sealant and said, have at it.
Oh my goodness. How old were you?
I think I was 17.
Did you stay there long?
I think it was a 1-week job, and that was really it. Yeah, that was my first job. My first real job was in motorsports in Huntington Beach, California.
Oh, that sounds fun. What about you, Ann? What was your first job before your career got started?
My very first job was working at Kmart in the shoe department.
Rest in peace, Kmart, right?
Yeah. I loved it because I got to look at whatever shoes were coming in before they hit the shelves. And I can see what the ads were for the following week.
Very fun. You get a good discount too?
No, we didn't get a discount.
Boo.
Yeah.
Matt, when you aren't at your desk, what is the one hobby or passion project that completely resets you or brings you the most joy?
Probably travel. That is the one thing that getting away from the area I work in, that is, the entire state of North Carolina. Yeah, I would say the one thing that is a reset for me is getting away and truly disconnecting from work and home life.
Are you able to do that more than once a year?
We try to do it 3 or 4 times a year.
Oh, good. Love to hear that. What about you, Ann?
For me, my daily recharge is I like to crochet and I like to read. And those are the things that calm my mind, keep my hands busy, but settle my brain. So I stop thinking work and home constantly and just kind of check out and create.
Are you a paper book person or a Kindle digital person? Both?
Yeah, I like both.
Any book you want to recommend to our audience today?
Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. That was a very good book. Actually listened to it while I was traveling. Shonda Rhimes actually narrates, and it's her story of she took a year to say yes to everything that scared her, and how it changed her life. So it's a very good book. Lots of good nuggets in there.
Probably motivating.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. All right. Last question. Matt, you spoke about how you like to unplug by traveling. So what is the one place in the world you haven't visited yet that is at the very top of your bucket list?
Eastern Europe, I would say Croatia is probably the top of the list at this point.
Is there something in particular there, like hiking or?
No, to charter a catamaran. Me and a group of friends chartered a catamaran in the Southern Caribbean 2 years ago, and I would say that was the best trip I've ever been on.
Wonderful. I'm living vicariously through that memory right now. That sounds so nice. Ann, what about you? Is there any place you haven't been yet that's at the top of your bucket list?
Currently at the top of my list, I would say Montana, and specifically, I would love to see Glacier National Park. I'm actually working on a plan by next year for our family to take a trip there.
Okay. And what would you do in Montana? What would you do at the park? Just see all the things, hike, and just experience it. That's my favorite thing to do, is just walk around, check things out, experience nature, see the scenes. Well, it sounds lovely. Find a nice warm cabin, see some moose.
Yes.
Is there anything else you guys want to add about Tinnacity or your experience, or maybe what you hope for in the future?
It's been a really delightful integration. It's been a great team to work with, and they're super open to ideas, and they really do act on recommendations. We've seen several important updates and changes and modifications made that came out of the end user desires.
As a customer of Tinnacity, you really feel seen. You feel valued and appreciated. When I went to Tug the end of last year, people knew my name. They knew what company I was with. Like it really feels almost like a family. Like they truly care about each individual customer.
Matt, Ann, I can't thank you enough for joining me today and for being such incredible partners. It's been a blast to hear about ACT story and your experience with Tinnacity. So to everyone watching, if anything Matt or Ann have shared today resonates with you, whether it's the need for better visibility or just wanting a partner who truly has your back, don't hesitate to reach out to them at Atlantic Coast Toyotalift or our crew directly. Keep in mind, we'd love to help you bring a little Tinnacity to your operations. Thanks for tuning in to our very first episode. Keep moving forward, and we'll see you next time on Tinnacity Talks.